Hello, welcome and welcome back, my favorite movement enthusiasts. Today we have something very special for you. We're gonna go through 3 exercises, 3 stretches that are gonna be insanely effective when it comes to increasing your quality of life, building mobility in combination with flexibility, just because most people do not have enough time to work on their mobility for so long. And if you don't, these 3 exercises are gonna be perfect. Yeah, they're gonna be perfect for staying efficient, and you will have the time to do all of these every single day because it's only 3 exercises. So if you're ready, let's get right into it. Starting with exercise number 1, while I have already demonstrated the reverse tabletop stretch or exercise before, which is basically just pushing your pelvis forward towards your legs and then raising it up, opening up your chest and stretching your frontal deltoids, your biceps, your pecs, and pushing upwards to strengthen your posterior chain with the tiniest of stretches in your hip flexors. There is actually a way to make this more effective by adjusting it a little bit. So we will start with one leg fully extended and the other one set up with our foot on the ground and pulling it pretty close to our body. You want to have it at the same height as your knee. Depending on your mobility, you're going to notice why. We're going to push forward, raising the extended leg while bringing the bent knee all the way down to the ground and reversing again. So if you do this on the other side, you can actually see how far forward I have to move to bring the knee all the way down. Now we have a much stronger stretch in our quadriceps, moving up to our hip flexors, our lower abdominals, and the slightest stretch in our upper abdominals. And then we have a strong stretch in our pecs and in our delts once more, because we're pushing our chest upward and forward by flexing our posterior chain. Our lower back, our glutes push forward and up and reverse. Now, the good thing about this exercise is we can either statically work on it by holding for 10, 20, 30 seconds, reversing, taking a short break and then repeating. Or what I like to do even more is just work dynamically, push forward and reverse, push forward and reverse. Now we have ankle mobility, knee and hip mobility included with rotator cuff mobility, which is already an insane amount of joints to include in a single exercise. So this one is one of the most effective things you can do for stretching out your anterior chain while strengthening your posterior chain. Now, moving on to our second exercise, we have a combination of stretch and strength of our anterior and posterior chain through alternation. We're going to include our entire body basically, and it's going to be really amazing. The only real requirement we would have is being able to get into a deep squat position. If you can't get into a deep squat, I have multiple guides on how to do that. Check them out. If you can, however, we will start like so. And the first half of our exercise is basically just a hip thrust, meaning we want to bring both our knees down towards the ground and push our hips forward. Now, this is level 1 of the exercise. The rest of the exercise is requiring a lot of hip flexor strength to reverse the movement without falling backwards, meaning we want to start out here in our deep squat position, want to bring our knees down, and if you don't have the strength to pull up like so, you will fall backwards due to a lack of core and hip flexor strength. So over time you can work like so, strengthening your hip flexors and your lower abdominals until you are able to get into that position. And from here, we're gonna do the full exercise. You're gonna bring both your knees down and push your hip forward. Bring your feet down and lean backwards as much as you can without falling down. If you can touch your head towards the ground, that would be amazing. If you can't, there's absolutely no problem in not doing that. First part, bring your knees down, bring your feet down, push forward, lean backwards as much as you can, and then we're going to use our abdominals and the rest of our anterior chain to pull us forward. Go back into the deep squat position, pull our shoulders in, push our legs back, open up and bring that head all the way down to flex our spine completely. So we have a full flex in our anterior chain now. As you can see, I am flexing my abs, flexing my hip flexors, and every single muscle that rounds my body down. So if we combine the whole movement into a single exercise, you can bring your hands behind your head for an extra addition of core strength, or you can keep them at the front, whatever you feel like or whatever makes this possible for you. We're gonna bring our knees back here and lean, 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 backwards, sit up all the way, reverse into our deep squat position, pull forward and flex our anterior chain. Move forward, stretch our anterior while flexing our posterior, and flex our anterior while stretching our posterior. Now I know this one is a little bit more advanced, but it is so damn effective. I would suggest you start learning it now, and in a couple of weeks you will be an absolute pro in doing it. Now for our third and final exercise, there can only be one that comes to mind, and I have given you not one but two ideas of what it could be, and that is the cat-cow. The only way you can be surprised by this one is if this is your first time on this channel. The cat-cow, you've maybe seen it in yoga, you've definitely seen it on this channel if you've been here before, is one of the most insanely effective ways in loosening up our spine while strengthening every single muscle that has any connection in extending and flexing our spine. We are going to start with our hands pointing outwards, so our elbows point backwards. What that is going to do is give us more ability to flex our latissimus, which has the largest surface area on our backs and is one of the most important muscles to work on. So we're gonna start in a spinal extension. Once again, if you don't know, spinal flexion is rounding, spinal extension is this. So we're gonna start out in a spinal extension, extend our arms fully, flex our lats, bring our head back, and we're gonna work with breathing. When breathing in, we're gonna flex our back all the way by rounding as much as we can, and we're gonna turn our hands inwards, which is gonna give us a little bit more space for our shoulders to lengthen. So lengthen your shoulders, flex your spine by flexing your abdominals and your glutes to push forward and lengthen all the way, and then reverse. Hands outwards, elbows backwards, flex your lats, flex your spinal erectors, and pull your head up all the way. So we are breathing in, total spinal flexion and complete flexion of our anterior chain, and reverse total spinal extension while flexing our entire posterior chain. So let's go in, out, in, and out, and repeat as many times as you need to feel a little bit more loose and limber. I usually go for a minute or two every single day, especially in the morning, because I wake up with a tight back and I don't like that at all. And there it is, 3 stretching and mobility exercises that are absurdly efficient for your entire body, that don't take up a lot of time, don't take up a lot of effort, but should be done as often as you can if you don't have the time to stretch daily. She wants to say goodbye, and she also hopes that you come back rather sooner than later, because we have new videos every single day on this channel. Isn't that right? And you're featured more and more often because people like you, don't they? They do like you, right? So like, subscribe, and I'll see y'all around. Captain Cairo, peace out.